past couple of weeks that we're protesting right now. So these past few weeks, Students for Justice in Palestine at UIUC has been unjustly targeted by Zionists who have suppressed and severely hindered our divestment campaign. Through a premeditated attack, Zionist senators have exploited the flaws of student government in order to advance their insidious anti-Palestinian settler colonial ideology. After weeks of diligent planning, campaigning, and outreach, SJP presented its divest resolution to ISG on February 16th in order to place our referendum question on the student ballot for this upcoming election. However, in a calculated plan to obstruct divest from passing, a group of 5 senators walked out during the middle of the voting session. Quorum was consequently not met and the meeting was adjourned. As such, we were forced to return on February 23rd, where we once again presented our resolution to ISG, with it ultimately passing. However, during the meeting, a Zionist senator requested a script ballot in order to protect the voting of senators and their identity. Unbeknownst to us, this would be weaponized against SJP, which claims that it violates the ISG Constitution. Later, another Zionist senator would proceed to file a judicial complaint against our resolution, including a complaint against the meeting agenda being sent out late or less than 48 hours beforehand. Those in ISG have confirmed that the agenda has been sent out late on multiple occasions before, and yet the Judicial Committee agreed to grant cert, upholding the unmerited claims. As a result, the resolution could not be accepted. Additionally, on March 2nd, Middle Eastern and North African students, or MENA students, attended the ISG meeting in order to pass a resolution to create a MENA advocacy department. This resolution did not name Israel or Palestine, and yet Zionist senators attempted to null the meeting on these same falsified pretenses, claiming that the meeting agenda was not sent out in a timely manner, and thus the meeting should be voided. It has become increasingly evident that not only has the anti-Palestinian rhetoric become normalized on campus, but so has the anti-Arab climate and blatant Islamophobia. As we sat in on these ISG meetings, we were subject to pronounced racism, as Zionists called a group of predominantly POC students terrorists and threatening. At one point, this group of white students went as far as to ask for the podium to be moved, as it was too close to the predominantly black and brown students inside. Yet, despite the hyper-racialized attacks that Zionists have vocalized against us, Palestinians are expected to remain quiet, calm, and composed. We are expected to remain calm, sitting in our seats, while Zionists racialize us as terrorists with the Illinois student government's passive authorization. SJP recognizes that no institution will defend or free us, not the university, nor its bureaucratic bystander student government. The institutions that oppress us will not be the ones to free us. The undeniable fact is that a group of student organizers who have exhausted their efforts and monetary resources are being blatantly silenced by the institution. We are disheartened and do not seek justice within these institutions. We are calling on the UIUC student body to stand with us against these malicious and unfounded attacks. Stand with us and show UIUC administration and the Illinois student government that their elected officials have no regard for the people they represent. Stand with us and prove that the UIUC student body supports divestment from corporations that invest in human rights violations at the U.S.-Mexico border, in occupied Palestine, and in U.S. prisons. Thank you. Okay, so the way the protest is going to go, we're going to have our first solidarity speaker speak, and then we're going to walk to the Union, where we're going to have 2 other solidarity speakers, and then we're going to walk to Swanland, have 2 other ones, and then we're going to end up at Alma Mater to finish the protest. So here's our first speaker.
On behalf of YDSA, I'd like to thank SJP for organizing this and for inviting YDSA into your space. I'm here today to remind Illinois student government and the U of I administration that no matter how hard they try, no matter how many strings they pull, or how many loopholes they use, we will not rest until the University of Illinois has fully and completely divested from human rights abuses. In just the past few weeks, we have witnessed the institutional silencing of Palestinian students before our very eyes. A school that oppresses the voices of historically marginalized students should be ashamed to call itself a leader in diversity, equity, and inclusion. officers of ISG, you must be prepared to be held accountable. And the same goes for the U of I administration. We absolutely need to reallocate more funding to cultural houses and to counseling centers and mental health resources for students of color who have been victims of discrimination on campus. Instead, they pour our tuition into fueling the military-industrial pipeline that is so present in our university institutions. They brag about the companies we work with, Caterpillar, Elbit, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, but there is nothing to be proud about for funneling students into the very same corporations perpetuating militarization and violence in the Middle East. To the university administration, I ask you, how
Here's our first speaker.
Hello, everyone.
Buddy,
My name is Charles Alfeo, and I'm here on behalf of Students for Environmental Services. I wanted to start off by exploring the term activism. To me, activism is about listening, leading, and learning.
buddy, I'm trying to
We
film.
must listen to the ideas, opinions, and concerns of others, guide our fears and those around us, and adapt ourselves by creating space to learn. This doesn't mean you have to have all the answers right now or shut people out. Instead, collaborating with other activists means that we are constantly growing, shifting, and exchanging ideas to better ourselves and our local communities. By listening, leading, and learning, we can build inclusive spaces that uplift the voices of those around us.
Buddy,
The silencing of activist groups and their concerns on campus is antithetical to our mission as student activists and a progressive institution. As an environmental organization, human rights at the center of our efforts as well.
just trying to film it. I'm just trying to film it. He's blocking me away.
Human rights violators. The same capitalistic principles and structural forces that uphold these injustices and the status quo motivate environmental destruction and mass exploitation on a mass scale abroad. We stand in solidarity with SJP today, as we should be targeting the real inhibitors of human rights and change here on campus, rather than the students working for justice. Activism and justice should be about working together rather than removing organizations from the conversation and shutting out criticism. We must work together to dismantle systems of oppression and silencing them, to create radical change. It starts with shutting down racism and Zionist agenda, talking to your peers, taking time to learn and discuss, and leaving room for growth, especially within student organizations like ISG and among us administration. It is absolutely necessary that the university take these demands seriously. Divest from corporations that profit off the occupation of Palestine, prison labor in the U.S., and violate human rights globally. As an institution that prides itself on progressive ideals, it is imperative that the university move their investments toward corporations and programs that reflect the true wishes of the student body, rather than shutting them down when things seem too difficult. And radical change. Students on campus should not have to fight with senators and administration to be heard. In fact, that goes against everything that this university stands for. Again, we call the university to divest from human rights violators and uphold their missions as a safe and inclusive space for others. This doesn't begin and end with referendums and resolutions. It begins and ends with broad...
Dude, I'm just trying to film. I'm not doing anything.
Thank you.
To do something for these same 70-plus years. Our grandparents have never stopped talking about the Nakba that left them displaced and heartbroken. And for years on out, we have been witnessing in real time a fraction of what our parents faced in 1948 and a fraction of what Palestinians in occupied areas have been facing. These continuous ruthless attacks have targeted Palestinians, children, women and men, Muslim and Christian. Israel is a settler colony, not a country. Zionism does not leave any room for Palestinians to exist. We stand unequivocally with the Palestinian people and support how they choose to resist their oppression. We stand in solidarity with the intersectional fight of the Palestinians, especially at this institution, where Palestinian blood is viewed so cheap and where our suffering is met with fake sympathy. And it's appalling that the same students at this institution who quote-unquote support Palestine and are the voices of our student body cannot even live up to their words when it comes time for action. A lot of these same people claim to support social justice and human rights movements, but only as long as Palestine is out of the picture, right? Nothing is compatible with Zionism. Feminism is not compatible with Zionism. Environmentalism is not compatible with Zionism. Abolitionism is not compatible with Zionism. Zionism is the root cause of the social issues we see today. And our very own administration and student government partake in the reason those same issues have followed us onto this campus. They do not leave room for Palestinians at UIUC to express the frustrations and unfairness that they and the Zionists they fund and support on this campus inflict on us. It's crazy that human rights violations are only acknowledged when they're taking place in predominantly white countries and populations, and not in the Middle East. demands that they impose a military embargo against Israel. Boycott and divest from companies and brands that support Israel, because we will see a free Palestine in this lifetime.
was here at this building, peacefully protesting, demanding that the university administration do the bare minimum to protect the health and safety of workers and students. And how did they respond? University administration threatened to arrest CEO members. They profiled and interrogated members. And brought their security guards, who I've seen here today, to physically and tackle protesters to the ground. These security officers are here today. That's the level of repression we're dealing with on campus, and this repression is more evident than ever now with the silencing of Palestinian voices. And what we've seen with this unfair suppression of SJP's resolution after it was approved and voted on by members of the student government show how far the institutions of this university are willing to go to suppress and silence demands for the most basic of human rights. As workers and students, we cannot accept this repression. The administrators who work in this building and are responsible for investing huge amounts of your tuition dollars, as our comrade from YDSA brought up, and they're investing these dollars in human rights violations, not only in Palestine, but in Mexico and Puerto Rico, all over the world, are the same administrators who say they cannot afford to pay graduate workers a living wage or pay for our summer health care. We cannot stand for this university destroying the lives of colonized and working class people throughout the world with money they earn off of our labor and our tuition and fees. To quote a certain political economist, the money UIUC is investing into violent occupations is absolutely dripping from head to foot, from every pore with blood and dirt. And if the student government is unwilling to accept the democratic decision that was made to demand that UIUC divest from these funds, SJP deserves every right to take matters into their own hands. And GEO will stand with you every step of the way. Solidarity. But anyway, I just want to reiterate what the speakers up here said earlier. The administration sits in this very building every day and does a bunch of nothing, kicks their feet up on the blood and back of all the people that they oppress and refuse to acknowledge. They kick their feet up on the backs of Palestinians. They kick their feet up on the backs of migrants trying to escape the country that this country has destroyed. This same administration has not been able to make this campus a better place for Black students to succeed. This same administration continues to ignore the problems that we face every single day. How much longer can we do that? It doesn't make sense. And for ISG, those glorified teenage Obamas, they sit in their office every single day and have the nerve to look us in our faces and tell us they're here for us, that they're one of us, they're our peers, while they get paid by the university to be on ISG and do a bunch of bullshit every single day, and have the nerve to have grievances with student organizations trying to make this world a better place. They can go to hell in 4 minutes. They know that they're wrong, every single one of them, and there's no excuse for it. And when the time comes, when liberation is finally here, they will have to pay for it. Solidarity from Palestine to Africa and everywhere else where people are oppressed. Thank you.
Justice, no peace, no racist police. Free, free! and I'm here on behalf of UMMA, underrepresented Muslim and minority advocates. Here at U of I. So UMMA stands in solidarity with and offers all our support to Palestinian students and Palestinians facing an ongoing ethnic cleansing and the institutional racism here at U of I. As a Palestinian myself, it hurts to see people justify and even ignore the atrocities Palestinians face every day just for existing. This is why it's especially hard to see the U of I administration and Illinois student government not amplify the voices of Students for Justice in Palestine and to shut down our organizing. This is a perfect example of how we live in a world that aids Israeli courts, Israeli police, and the Israeli military, which are all working to expel Palestinians and delegitimize our movement. But we continue on and resist and show Israel, the U of I, and ISG that we're still here in Palestine, in the diaspora, and we're waiting to return. The definition of settler colonialism defined by historian Dunbar Ortez, who states that settler colonialism is not an event, but rather a structure of elimination that requires violence and is based on the policy of genocide and land theft. Part of the structure of settler colonialism is the structures of the university and ISG that cannot bring us justice or liberation. From the start, Palestinians have been killed, displaced, and subject to oppressive policies, stripping them of their basic human rights. In the U.S., Palestinians are silenced, blacklisted, and constantly vilified. Any person who states that this is a conflict, let alone a complex one, fails to draw on world history that shows the gruesomeness of settler colonialism and apartheid and the gross double standards that Palestinians face every single day. It is necessary to understand that liberation does not come in binary. The narratives of people are so nuanced, and it's essential that for liberation, we listen, remove our biases, empathize, extend our hands to people who are suffering in other parts of the world, and it's important that we find justice in our communities, not in the institutions that are designed against us.
They're gonna keep
UMMA
moving things up.
recognizes the responsibility of
It's not worth
Muslims
playing.
to uphold the value of Islam by educating each other and not staying silent, as silence is complicit with oppression. If protesting is not possible, then engage with your communities, educate yourself, call out this blatant racism and ethnic cleansing, and do your best to raise awareness to an issue the world is ignoring. The worst thing you could do, the worst thing that we can do is stay silent.
Palestine! Palestine!
Okay, our next speaker is a student from my college.
How
are you?
Why are you calling directly me?
Well, because you're recording at people, so
I'm recording the speaker.
I'm recording. I'm just recording.
Hello everyone, my name is Julissa.
Yeah, but it's kind of harassment, like just to stick your phone in my face like that. I'm
It's not
recording
in your
people.
face.
But you're.
We work to serve and assist undocumented students and the undocumented student community and bring awareness to the struggles tied to immigration in the UIUC community over the years. ICOS stands in solidarity with Students for Justice in Palestine. As a member of the UIUC community, we want to highlight the dedication that SJP has committed to in recent years. However,
fight until liberation. Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Okay, so we have just one last remark from me. We'll wrap up. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. Palestinians in the U.S. commonly face something we call the Palestine exception, where people support struggles for liberation and marginalized groups until it comes to Palestine. This instance we face today is a perfect example of the Palestine exception, where people organize specifically against advocacy for Palestine while supporting other causes. And this is a form of racism and will not be tolerated. We stand here today and call on the U of I Board of Trustees to divest from corporations that invest in human rights violations in Palestine, in U.S. prisons, and on the U.S.-Mexico border. We were told that if we were to remove the part about human rights violations in Palestine, that the referendum would pass.
In case they say something crazy or offensive.
Fair enough.
Why are you blocking it?
Because I think these videos have been like used to target the speakers.
I think most of these clips are used to take what speakers say out of context.
Like when they say globalize the Intifada. The Intifada was suicide bombings. That's what you want to globalize. Killed 1,000 people.
Thousands of people are killed yearly by Israel. Just takes on a different form.
It's a much different form. It's not even comparable. And you're basically saying you support terrorism to get revenge on Israel. So
Violence has never been
Snipers killing Palestinians is exactly the same kind of terrorism.
no, it's not. It's killing terrorists and
A boom going
some
down
and
is
some
different
innocent
from a nail coming up.
and some innocent people unfortunately get killed. But they're not targeting the innocent people. The Intifada targeted innocent people, and that's what you want to globalize.
Our allies in the Palestinian movement also play an important role in our liberation efforts. With your continued support, action, and efforts, our struggle will continue to be the exception and will continue to be vilified by racist Zionists on campus and administration and ISG and Halal and in Shabbat. There is power in not engaging with the institution altogether. Just like the struggle for liberation of other oppressed people, for dialogue with the very people that live in today, but rather a life that is a